Here we go again. It's been yet another roller coaster of a week at Morecambe FC, and we are going to dissect this with insight and hopefully some humour, as per usual, here on ShrimpNet. So, welcome along. Joining Joel from the Trust and myself, we have our freshly house-trained boardroom Sven Garley and Charlie Appleyard. Thank you for joining us, Charlie, as usual.
Good evening, Freez. Good evening, Joel. Nice hoodie I've just noticed, Joel. Nice hoodie you're wearing there.
Lovely, isn't it?
And from the dressing room, a firm fan favourite, the ubiquitous, I was going to say fullback stroke, centre-back stroke, defensive midfielder stroke, goalkeeper stroke, anywhere he can play. It's very kindly this week we have Liam Gibson. Liam, welcome along again.
Good evening, fellas. Nice to be on again.
Yeah, you're a good liar. That's a short straw for you this week.
Well, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it last time. So
yeah, well, you can pack it and enjoying it. We'll
the most popular player in the squad last 2-3 seasons, surely.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. Everything you do, Liam, particularly in front of the home stand, it doesn't matter what you do. Shove it out for a corner. Gibbo.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not very good, but I'll give 100%.
And that's all we can ask. That's all we can ask. And don't put yourself down. Anyway, so it's a difficult week. It's been a difficult week. I was going to say frustrating and disappointing, Joel, in equal measure. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the whole week's just not fallen very kindly. I think starting off with that Sheffield Wednesday game being moved to a Friday night, because I think Sheffield going to Hillsborough on a Saturday, lovely. Get a train over in the morning, a few beers on the train. Make your way. It's a bit of a ball ache to get to Hillsborough. It takes a little bit of a while from the centre of Sheffield, but you can kind of make your way from the tram in your own time. That's fine on a Saturday, and also when you've got no rush to get back. But on a weeknight, when you're dashing over after work, you've got to head off straight away, and it's not that fun. And then for the team as well, they've expended quite a lot of energy, it looked like, playing Derby. That was a really energetic and really good performance. And then to kind of have such a short turnaround in games against the Sheffield Wednesday side that I don't think they had a Tuesday game, and they rotated quite a bit as well, so they were a lot more fresh. And despite the rotation, they've still got a front three of Josh Wilkes, Josh Windass, Malik Wilkes, and Michael Smith. So despite all that, they had a lot of firepower, and it sounds like we managed to muster a bit at some points. We had a few decent efforts on goal, but they're just a very good quality side, and coming and just only with such a short turnaround after the Derby game, it was always going to be a bit of a tough ask.
And looking at this, Charlie, am I being glib by saying Josh Windass's goal? We had a couple of efforts very similar, which their keeper made a couple of great saves from. Windass's goal goes in, and then obviously the unfortunate back pass interception for Ryan Cooney. So a worldie and a giveaway, and at least we had a goal on the night, didn't we?
We did, and Joel's summary is pretty fair. I think I think Derek was saying last week. Gibbo's played 23 games now this season.
Yeah.
There's only so much running they can do, and we've got a small squad. They tried their best, but Barry Banner on the bench must have been a bit of a chink of light at the end of the tunnel, but it didn't really come out that way, and it's frustrating, really. But after the Derby game, we did so well, and they must be knackered as well. But Sheffield Wednesday are a good team, right?
Yeah, true. And it must have been strange, Liam. Like I say, it was a quick turnaround. Not ideal after a really taxing game against Derby. Fans who'll be listening to this going, "Oh, he's making excuses." I'm not making excuses. The fact is, it was a short turnaround. We finished at sort of 10 o'clock on a Tuesday night. They had no game, and you're playing again on the Friday night. And it's a big ask, isn't it?
To be fair, I think even without the quick turnaround, I think it's always going to be a very tough game, like heading to Hillsborough on a Friday night. But like you said, the lads expended a lot of energy in the game on Tuesday against Derby, so I think it was always going to be a tough ask to go to Hillsborough on the Friday night and perform to the best ability, really.
It literally couldn't have been a worse draw. First round, toughest team in the competition, away from home on a Friday night, with no rest after playing Derby. You know, we only beat Derby. Derby only beat Liverpool last night. That's how good we are
Yeah.
with energy. You know,
I think even a home draw makes it a bit easier. But when, like I said, when you go to Hillsborough, it's always going to be a tough game there, with the squad they've got to pick from.
But yeah, but I mean, looking at it in playing terms, we did have a couple of long range efforts, which Stockdale made a couple of good saves, and their long range effort flies in at the top corner, and all of a sudden we're sort of kind of chasing it without really trying to give too much away. I mean, that was the plan, really, wasn't it? Try and stay tight and try and stay in the game.
I think the goal before, I think that their first goal is a bit of a killer. I think if we can get to half time 0-0, then I think we're still in with a massive shout. But after that, we've huffed and puffed, but didn't really create much, which was disappointing. But I think, like you said, we started the game all right. But
maybe I look with, you know, in the first and second round last 2 years, we've got 3 non-league opponents.
Yeah.
And in that Newport County, and then got 2 prem draws, and maybe we just, you know, the law of averages comes back to get you.
Yeah, you might be right, Charlie, in the fact that we have been very fortunate with the draws in the last couple of years. Strangely, since we signed Liam Gibson.
To be fair.
I thought you were the talisman, Liam, but no. Sorry, not any longer, mate. You've cocked up this season. It's your fault. There you go.
Sorry,
we moved to Tuesday night, and this is to me now. We've done the hard part. We've beaten Stoke, albeit without scoring and on penalties, and then we've gone away to Rotherham and played really well on the night and scored the goal and defended brilliantly and put us in this position where yet again the draw hasn't been really very kind to us. And looking at the crowd the other night, I'd be ashamed of that at MK Dons if it was a JPT, you know, Papa John's trophy crowd. That's nothing against MK Dons. I understand that. But
were you there, David and Joel? Were you there?
No.
It was the weirdest atmosphere any Morecambe I've ever been to. Yeah,
well, I was listening to the commentary.
Derby playing Anfield last night. You've got all these prem draws going on with these big crowds.
Yeah.
You turn up, no one there.
No.
From MK Johnson, a huge stadium, massive. The pitch is huge, but the pitch is massive. There's no atmosphere. It was just bizarre. It's really, 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 really quite strange. And how do you? It just seems really, really weird, and you know, really empty atmosphere to motivate yourself again after accruing so many games.
I think it's fair to say it was on the night. We were probably second best, and I think it's a toll of what's gone on in the last few weeks. Joel, do you think?
Yeah, I had a watch back of the game today. I think it was weird. I thought we started like with a bit of snap. I thought we were giving it a go. There was a little bit of pressing, and we were kind of moving on to them and moving off, and whatever triggers and whatnot. But like, I think you could just tell, you know, on a Tuesday night again, and again, I think worth having a quick word for the fans. You know, MK's, you know, it's not a fun one on a Saturday, let alone a week night, for Christ's sake. You know, miserable one after Sheffield Wednesday. So I do get why quite a lot. Like, I think it is important to be sympathetic, like, to a lot of frustrated fans. At the same time, I think I look at the game, and there's something about the way that MK Dons play, even though they've not been great. They've struggled in the league this season. Yeah. I don't know. I've been trying to put my finger on it a bit. I don't know if it's like they're kind of because we play passing sides before. We played Ipswich and we did really well against them. Derby, you know, they're more of a passing side. We did well against them. I think it's almost like they're really, really devout. They're so committed to it. They'll just happily keep recycling the ball. Whereas maybe some of the other sides, you know, want to try and have a bit more penetration and will go long and give us opportunities to direct, where MK Dons will just happily just pass it around their centre back.
For God's sake, get in our half and have some end product. And
I know, let us nick the ball off you, for God's sake. But like, and so I mean, they did us. You know, they've beaten us when they were playing well last season. They've beaten us when they haven't been so good this season. You know, it just feels like they're just a bit of a bogey side for us. Just the way they play, we seem to kind of come unstuck, and then we've changed formation a bit, but it was a bit flat, and I think, like you say, the atmosphere doesn't really help that, does it?
So I'll come to you now, Gibbo. That's it was probably a bridge too far. Derek accepted that after the game. There were there's been lots of disgruntled fans. I think we took about 90 down there, and fair play to every single one of the 90 that went. But when you get there and see that there's like less than sort of 2,000 there in a 23,000 stadium, and it's a bit like years ago when we played Darlington, when we were in the conference, and there was like 2,000 in it, again, a 25,000 a seater. Best forgotten, but it's got to be strange playing in that atmosphere, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's because the stadium's that big. It makes it even worse. Like if you got 2,000 even at the Mazuma, I know it's not small, like it's smallish stadium, but it doesn't look half as bad as when there's like a 25,000 seater stadium and there's literally just all you can see is empty seats. I think it does make it strange, but then again, I don't think there's any excuses from our point of view. I think we were just beaten by the better team on the night, really, which is obviously disappointing. But
and like I say, there were a couple of fans saying, bizarrely, the team should pay for their fans to be down there and stuff like that. And a lot, don't get me wrong, a lot of the fans were saying, don't be so silly. When you set off, you're not expecting, to get any money back and stuff like that. But I do feel sorry for the people who made the effort. Like you say, quite a few left at sort of like 1:30 in the afternoon to get there. And then to get there, and it is after the Sheffield Wednesday game, you can understand why they're disgruntled, can't you?
Yeah, 100%. I think as players, we want to go out there and put a good performance on, especially when fans are travelling that far on a Tuesday night. So it obviously makes it even worse for us when we're thinking about the fans that have travelled down and we've put in a performance that probably really wasn't. I don't know if it was one of them ones where you just have to like hold your hands up and say they were really good. Because I felt on the pitch that they did move the ball well, and at times I didn't think we got anywhere near them. But I didn't know if that was because we were poor or they were just very good. Can't really put my finger on it.
It was all summed up where the fans were going. We were putting a few passes together. The crowd's going, way, and they're on the fifth pass. Some of the shittest pass I've ever seen, booked it straight out. Everyone was like, I don't know who it was, but it was on Gibbo's side, I think. But
was it you?
It could have been me, to be fair. It could have been me. I'd done stand finders on.
Well,
I think they're a bogey side because that stadium is the exact opposite of Mazuma.
Yeah.
The pitch is absolutely huge. A massive amphitheatre. There's hardly any atmosphere. It's just so big. I like to come and say hello to the players and go and say to the fans and get involved and make sure everyone's enjoying themselves. And it's just too big to even do that. It's a bloody hotel. And it was wrong. This is Director's box banter. The third away game in a row with chicken, broccoli, and potatoes. No gravy.
Yeah, you weren't impressed, were you? No gravy. Not impressed.
Cheltenham hollandaise sauce, Wycombe Wanderers mushroom sauce, MK Don's mustard sauce. Absolutely ridiculous.
No gravy. That was the. To be honest with you, Charlie accepted defeat with good grace, but the fact it was the same meal 3 away games running and there was no gravy, upsetting.
I'm going to start taking my own thermos full of gravy. Get less to look after it.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Turning up in the opposition director's box, going, "You're all right. I'm from the north. I've brought gravy." So it was a kind of strange one to listen to because. Trying to generate an atmosphere on the radio, the commentators tried their best, but it sounded like a pre-season friendly, didn't it? Because you could hear every single player shout. You could hear it on the radio, and I was like,
the swearing, unbelievable. I don't know people do players swear that much on a normal game.
Yeah, that was probably our commentators actually, but but yeah, it was hard to listen to because. it just, you know, it was just, it was almost like a non-event. It was just, you know, but ultimately we're out of two cup competitions. Obviously the Papa John's JPT, whatever it's bloody called now, is drawn. So by the time you listen to this, you'll know who we've got in the sort of like northern section, which is great. So we have still got a cup. And we've joked before that we you know, we're expecting to get all the way to Wembley, Gibbo, on penalties in that competition. That's right, isn't it?
I think so. Well, I'd certainly take another Wembley trip, like if it was to arise. But like you said, any way of getting there, I'd take it.
Have you taken a penalty yet, Gibbo? I don't think you have.
No, I haven't. Nah. Keep getting took off. Don't know if don't know if I should take something from that. Don't think the gaffer wants us on pens.
Fucking terrible.
Well, after that finish at Burton, early days last season.
I'll have to take my right foot.
Anyway, moving on. For those of you who are listening on the podcast, you will be unaware that there are a couple of things occurring. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll be fully aware of the situation. Charlie's joined us, and his avatar behind him is an enormous picture of Liam Gibson in the away shirt at the start of the season. And Liam, tell us how you came the poster boy for the away kit.
Well, so obviously I'm not the best looking fella about, so I'm thinking surely there's no way I'm getting the call up to be the model for the away kit. So sure enough, I didn't get the call, but somehow I've ended up modelling the kit after the lads who were meant to do it. Got a quick getaway one day after training, so
name names.
somehow I've ended up.
Name names. Come on.
I can't actually remember. You know, it was that long ago, but I think maybe a Dylan Connolly might have been. A Dylan Connolly might have been in there. That was meant to model the kit, and
well, he is quick, isn't he? So he had a quick.
Exactly. To be fair, he's a lot quicker than me, so that's probably the story why I've ended up modelling it.
But it's a lovely picture, and I think Charlie looks lovely in front of it.
I think it's brilliant. I love the kit. I think it's the best kit we've ever had.
Oh, it is. Yeah. It's a great kit. It was a great kit, and obviously, big shout out to your colleague James for actually picking it, because he, you know, we love that kit, and it's been a big seller as well, which is great.
Take the boy of the army.
Oh yeah, yeah. Actually, with the camouflage theme, if you are watching on YouTube, you'll be aware that Liam Gibson is appearing under YouTube under a pseudonym. So please give your lovely girlfriend a shout out, Liam, because you're using her laptop.
I said before, I'm not great with technology, so I've had to get the missus to sort us out with their laptop. So that's the story behind her name being under my picture.
So moving on to you, Liam. I was joking in the intro that you've played. Well, I think you've played left centre back, left back, left wing back, and defensive midfielder. Where do you fancy next?
I've always fancied myself as a bit of a striker, like, so I'd take the number 9 shirt. Nah, to be honest, like I'm not bothered. I'll play wherever, really. Like I know I'm probably my main position is left back, but you know what it's like if you can get a game in a different position, then so be it. I think as long as I'm playing, I don't really mind what position I'm playing in, really.
I think the one thing that's happened that's caused you to be, and I said ubiquitous in the intro. The one thing is that obviously Max Melbourne got injured very, very early on, and it appeared we had a dearth of left-sided players. So that's why you probably ended up being ever. And the only surprise is they haven't put you on left wing.
I know. I think it's obviously. I think I might have actually got the shout of play there. For obviously didn't play the formation we're playing. Obviously we're playing 3-5-2 or whatever, however you want to look at it. So it's more of like being a wing back. But like I said, I think wherever the gaffer really wants us to play, I'll play. But I appreciate that. I might not be everyone's cup of tea in a few certain positions.
Well, yeah, we can't criticise you because you haven't played right wing, goalkeeper, or centre forward yet. So
there's still plenty of games to go.
true enough. And moving on to that, nice segue there. The simple fact is, as Charlie alluded to before, you've played most of the games this season, which is obviously satisfying for you. Your personal form, looking from the outside in, has been pretty good. Have you been happy with it?
I mean, obviously, it's tough to say when obviously we've had a few disappointing results. I think when you look at that, I think if you get beat, you can't really be saying that. Or like, I've had a good game, so it doesn't really matter. I think it's more about the team's performance for me. I think if I'd take having a stink if we'd be able to get a few more 3 points. So I don't really look at my form. I just hope we can pick up a few more wins.
And that's a fair point. But so moving on to the team, every time we speak to a player, and we've had quite a few players on already this season, and we had Derek on last week, obviously, and there seems to be sort of air of we should be doing better than we are.
Yeah, I think if you look at the dressing room, I think with the players we've got, I think there's enough talent in there for us not to be where we are at the minute. But for whatever reason, something's not gelling. I don't know if it's inconsistency or that we're just coming up against very good teams. I don't know, but I've said it before. I do think there's enough in the dressing room for us to be able to stay in League One this season. But I suppose it's all right me coming on and saying that. I think it's up for us to kind of show it on the pitch. Yeah,
very true. And I think that, I mean, obviously, I can't remember. I think I was watching some team in the FA Cup, and I can't remember. I think it might have been. No, I can't remember. I watched that many FA Cup games over the weekend, but the fact it was Forest Green. Yeah, I watched the Forest Green FA Cup game with the great goal that was similar to Cole's last season from Matey Boy, and the fact came out. They mentioned it once in each half that Forest Green are down at the bottom, just sort of like around where Morecambe are, and the two lowest scorers in the division. And I think that's probably the problem, is that we've created plenty of chances in most games, other than MK Dons, but we've not put our chances away. Keepers are good, etc., etc. But the scoring goals thing has really been our Achilles heel this season. I mean, if Jensen Weir's your top scorer and he's a midfielder, it does tend to show that you probably need a little bit more luck in front of goal. Would you say that was right?
Yeah, 100%. I think, like you said, I think the keepers are really good in this league, but I'm not putting blame on anyone for that stat. I think everyone's got to chip in with goals. It's not just the striker's responsibility to score goals. I think that's obviously one of their main jobs, but like I said before, I think you look at last season, it was literally the Cole show. He was scoring goals left, right, and centre, and I think it would probably be unfair to put that pressure on him again this season. So I think it's up to us to, even as defenders or midfielders, to chip in with a few more goals as well.
I guess if you look at that promotion season as well, I think that was probably quite a key aspect of it. I think Carlos was top scorer on about 16, which is a good amount, but not ridiculous. And then you had Aaron Wildig got 10, Cole got 13, I think it was. John O'Sullivan got a few. Obviously, Adam Phillips in the first half of the season. So it's just it's all about
and it's a point you met there, Joel, in the fact that goals were coming from all over the place. But obviously that was the promotion season, so you'd expect that.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
But it's a point you make in the fact that we were paying predominantly that season. We were sticking to 4-2-3-1, weren't we?
Yeah, it was that kind of 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1 hybrid. I guess, but when you're at the bottom, I suppose it's always going to be the case that when you're not winning games, you're looking for something slightly different to try and hit the right formula just to get that little kind of run of wins together, really.
Yeah, and looking at it, we've had some really. I mean, yes, all the fixtures are tough. The cup draw hasn't really been kind to us, and obviously we'll know the Papa John's by the time this goes live. I'm hoping for some a little bit of luck in that one from that point of view.
We just needed a little bit of luck in the draw, so you get like a home drawing against a lower division, lower league team, and try and just scrape a 1-0 and get in the next round of that. And you know, if you've got a bigger draw, a home draw like Liam saying, or a bigger draw in the Carabao, it would probably be more to the tie. And you know, hopefully we'll make up for it. We've got a quite easy game on Saturday.
Yeah, and that leads me nicely to Portsmouth on Saturday. You know, it's only Portsmouth. They've only got a massive budget, and
I've got a theory about Saturday.
Go on.
Guess who I sat next to on Tuesday night?
Go on.
Danny Cowley.
All right. Was his brother with him?
He come to watch.
All right.
And I was speaking to him, and I was like, he goes, "You guys are doing really well at the moment, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, we've been playing pretty good football. The league form is pretty good." He's like, "You know, you said I've been really impressed with what you've been doing. So, you know, I've been watching your games. You know, he said he came to the went to one of our games recently. I can't remember what it was, but we played really well. And he was there watching the MK Dons game. This is before kickoff, by the way. And he was like, "Yeah, I've been really impressed with what you've been doing. You know, I've been following you all season. I don't think you're in the position you should be doing." And then we had one shot all match. He didn't think we're not very good. We're going to absolutely hammer it on Saturday now. Here we go. Don't worry, lads. We had one shot in 90 minutes. We're going to smash them. Have a day off tomorrow. It's going to be easy.
So what you're saying is Derek Adams has done the classic Muhammad Ali roper dope. Exactly. What he's done is he's lulled him into a false sense of security. I mean, Gibbo will confirm this now. He said to him, Danny Cowley's out there. Just play rubbish, lose, don't string two passes together, and we'll absolutely batter Portsmouth on Saturday.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
I must say, he's a very nice guy, and he was being very, very complimentary. He was being nice, but he also wasn't being too dishonest. I think he was actually being genuine about being impressed with what we've been doing. So I think it's all a secret plan.
I think when you look back at the season so far, Gibbo, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's games that we've drawn that we should have won, and there's games that we've lost that we should have drawn, and that's why we are where we are.
Yeah, I think we probably have been. Well, I'm going to say unlucky, but I don't really know if is it unlucky or not. I just think even when you look at the games like you said, like that we've lost and that we should have drawn, or that we've drawn and we should have won, even a draw is a valuable point come the end of the season. You need to build as many draws and wins up as possible. So I think if we can turn them defeats into draws, first and foremost, and then kind of build on that, then I think that should stand us in good stead.
And looking at it, Joel, there's still plenty of the season left.
Yeah, there's a long way to go. I think it's just about getting those extra points on the ball. I think we look at some of the performances of late. I can see why Danny Cowley's been impressed. If you look at the performances like against Ipswich, Barnsley, and Derby, when there has been that press, Wickham wasn't a bad performance as well. You know, when there has been that kind of good level of kind of coordination to how we've pressed the opposition, we haven't let them settle. I think that was one of the big things that stood out to me about those games, is that we just didn't let the opposition settle in any kind of way. And you know, I spoke about it earlier the week. You know, you should have seen Michael Duff on the touchline. You know, he was losing his rag at how much Barnsley were kicking it long, and the reason they were kicking it long all the time is because we were forcing them to.
Yeah.
So I think we are starting to see performances come together. I think still, you know, we've got that problem of when we play the kind of the worst sides at the bottom of the table, we're struggling to kind of break them down as much, maybe because they're the ones who are sitting in and they're kind of expecting us to break them down. Whereas when we played your Derbys and your Barnsleys, obviously we're using counter-attacking as a way to get at them. It's been successful, but you can't really counter-attack a team that are like Cheltenham did against us the other week. They kind of sat on their
Cheltenham
half quite a lot, and I think if we kind of flip it around, that's probably what gave us a bit of a helping hand against Rotherham. Actually, the fact that Rotherham themselves in the Championship have been playing a bit more direct counter-attacking football, they can't really do that against us, and that probably gave us a hand. And then we come up against AK and Dons, who obviously are kryptonite, but yeah. So hopefully we'll turn things around a bit soon.
And
If you look at it,
go on.
If you look at it, we could have got a win against Shrewsbury, could have beaten Fleetwood, drawn against Bolton, beaten Oxford. I've not been biased here, but we could have got a few. Beaten Bristol Rovers, Cambridge, Accrington, Ipswich, Cheltenham. I mean, when he hit the poke bar in the last minute, then maybe got a win. Maybe got a win against Wickham. There's a good 20 points.
Yeah,
20 odd points there. You need 3 or 4 in mid-table.
See now, working on that premise, if our form can turn round, you might still be at Wembley at playoffs yet, Gibbo.
And to be fair, like you said, I think it only takes 2 back-to-back wins and you're mid-table in this league. So it's still like very tight down the bottom of the table. So I just think if we can get 1 win and then build on that and get another one within quick succession, I think that would really help us in terms of positioning in the table. But like I said, it's just getting that first win that's the problem. I mean, after the Barnsley game, I thought that would build some momentum and we could go to, I think it was Cheltenham after the Barnsley game.
Cheltenham,
yeah.
yeah.
And then we'll put in an absolute. It was probably the worst performance of the season. It was absolutely.
We could have drawn that game.
Yeah, we could have drawn that game, and it was a strange game to watch because for the first 20 minutes, I thought we looked like the home side because we just kept the ball and we were knocking it about and what have you, and it was like, and I was like, I know Derek will be furious. We've got more than 37% possession. What are we doing? But
strangely, three of the next 4 games are at home, so.
And also, we've got an all-important 2-week break coming up because obviously we're not in the FA Cup anymore, so there'll be that break. So if we're going to follow the pattern of last season, we'll come up to that break. Derek will put an interview out in the middle of it, say, "Yeah, this squad isn't as good as last season's squad."
After
that 2-week break, we've got 2 home games, just like we did when we had Burton Oxford last year.
Yeah, we got. Is it Exeter?
Exeter and Charlton, yeah.
So we'll have to see what happens. But starting with Portsmouth, we kind of Danny Cowley's. They've sort of gone a bit hybrid, haven't they? Portsmouth. They're not quite as predictable as Lincoln were. Joel.
No, yeah, I've been just having a quick look at some of the metrics in the season, and like their defense is one of the best in the league, but they're not creating a great deal, especially from open play. But there seems to be
set pieces is their thing, isn't it?
But yeah, they've created quite a lot from set pieces. In terms of the style, they're kind of veering towards more of a kind of pass and build style. But I'll have to kind of watch them a bit more. But they are playing 4-4-2, so proper football, eh? But an interesting game, you know. Typically, like you say, they have been more key, you know, more direct. But I think what generally tends to kind of be consistent, regardless of what style they play, is they generally do tend to play with quite a lot of energy and speed and kind of keep things moving quite a lot, don't they?
That's the Cowley way, isn't it? The first person to the throw picks it up, takes it. They don't worry about who's taking it. The only time they don't is when they get a long throw coming in when Raggett and what have you come up. No, so you're gonna have your work cut out on Saturday, Liam, because they got some big lads.
It's gonna be tough. I think every game in this league's tough, especially like the likes of Portsmouth. They're like one of the big hitters in the league. Obviously they've got a good manager in Cowley, but I think we just got to apply ourselves and give our best, and you never know, so we could pick up 3 points.
Well, the only thing that's in our favour is obviously Barnsley brought virtually a sellout. Derby did bring a sellout. We're unbeaten in them 2. and Portsmouth are bringing loads on Saturday, expecting expecting a lot from their side, and sometimes that expectation can sort of put a bit of pressure on them, Joel.
Yeah, probably. I probably can. I think. I don't know. I think that it helps give Mazuma a bit more atmosphere. I don't mind there being big rocking away ends. It just kind of heightens the whole thing. I'd actually that's a good point. I don't know if for like yourself as a player, but like, do you like having the packed out away end? Because it kind of gives it a nice bit of symmetry and atmosphere, doesn't it?
I think I do enjoy when the whole stadium's full. To be fair, it does make it a lot better. I just think, like you said before, the atmosphere levels just go up even more. So I think obviously it only gives us a bit of energy boost on the pitch.
The last 5 league games, they've drawn at home to 3 draws, no particular order. Fleetwood, Shrewsbury, and Oxford 1-1. That's 3, and they've beaten Forest Green 1-0, and they've lost to Charlton 3-0. So
in great form then.
Well, we never know. Obviously, they've got they've been given tomorrow off because we played badly on Tuesday, so we're going to smash it.
I think if we look at how we played against Portsmouth last season as well, I thought we did quite well against them at home. I thought we had
we played well away. Their keeper just an absolute worldie.
Mazuma made a good save.
They've got the same keeper, but he looked absolutely unbelievable.
Well, he's at Southampton now, so he can't get us anymore. But
strangely, Bazunu gave us the equaliser at the Mazuma last season.
Well, cold dumping him over his shoulder gave the equaliser. But I think we earned that one. I think there'll be it was that saver, wasn't it? He made that double save from No, it was the one when there was 2 saves in that home game, actually, wasn't there? There was the one he tipped onto the post of Martha's shot, which was a hell of a save. You didn't really see it in real time, but and then there was the one when he actually fumbled it and then spread himself really well at goal, didn't he?
The rebound, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, absolutely amazing save. Adam Phillips, this worldy shot of 30 yards, and he somehow kept it out.
Yeah,
that was probably one of the best saves I've ever seen live. When I was playing, it was unbelievable.
But then, for some strange reason, he dropped a corner in front of Jonah Rayonga. Whatever happened to him?
Bagging against Celtic, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he's gone backwards then. So we're expecting a tough game Saturday, but it's a bit of a blessed relief that there's actually, like you say, there's a couple of weeks grace. Is there any? Is Mick Horton working off the field to try and sort a game out for the next round of the FA Cup, or are we going to just take a week off, Charlie? Do you know?
Time off, hopefully, give the boys a rest. And obviously not to me at all, but if Liam's played 23, 24 games, he probably needs to get some extra cash and do some modelling sheets or whatever. 2 weeks off.
We're going to Dubai, I think. Dubai for warm weather training, apparently.
Right. Yeah, nice, yeah. I think you find you've pronounced that wrong. I think they call it Southport.
Yeah, good.
But interestingly enough, the positives with the break is obviously, Max Melbourne, Jake Taylor, Ashley Hunter will be a couple of weeks nearer, etc. Because we are missing some sort of fairly creative players, aren't we, Gibbo?
Yeah, I think obviously we need as big a squad as possible. Really, I think you've seen from the games that we played that teams are freshening it up from Saturday to Tuesday almost every week, and it's shown in some games. And I think obviously we've got quite a small squad, and it does show sometimes when we've like the hectic schedule last week when I think we played 3 games in a week. Which is very tough when you've only got a small squad. So I think
just have interest, Gibbo, right? If you're in a situation where you want to play every game, would you rather play 3 games in a row where you're knackered, or would you be happy to play 2 games out of 3 and play better and enjoy it more and be fitter?
Probably 2 games out of 3, because I think when you do start to get a bit tired, I don't think you can show the best of your ability, really.
So has that been quite tricky then with Max Melbourne being injured for such a long time? I guess like it's nice to be able to play every game, but on the flip side, there's a lot of pressure on you, isn't there?
I think it's. I just think it's a bit. It's a bit new to me because I think with my illness issues in the past and a few niggles I've had here and there, I've never really played as many games in my career. So I think it is new to me, but something I'm not complaining about it. I don't mind. I don't mind playing the amount of games. I obviously I'm not complaining about playing that many games, but obviously it does get tough physically. But I don't mind it. I think it's a good thing for me anyway, because I mentioned before in the past that I'm better when I've got a run of games under my belt.
I guess you're, but I guess in some ways you were kind of always set up to have quite a lot of games this season, just because obviously Derek's put you in centre mid as well, so you might have been covering both of those. I'd actually just wondered, actually, what was the conversation around you being put in centre mid, and then obviously you've been given the number 4? Has he kind of approached you and said, I think I can see you playing here?
No, there was no conversation. We didn't really have a conversation. I think it was the first time I got moved there I think it was it Macclesfield in pre-season.
Yeah, I think so.
And then I think it was just injury troubles. I think that's what, and I think he just said, "Oh, like I don't mind you in there. Can you basically do a job?" And then I kind of played a few games. Obviously, it's not my best position. I know that myself, but I do give 100% when I play. So I think that that can carry us some of the weight. Do you know what I mean? I think obviously I don't know the position that well, but I was just learning it on the job. If you get what I mean.
Yeah, I always think coming from a wide position into a central position, like in centre midfield, when you've got loads more different angles around, you haven't got the touchline and everything. I always see that as quite a hard transition to make.
Yeah, very difficult. I think the touchline's almost like a safety net for me, because you know that there's no one going to be behind you. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if you're receiving the ball in centre midfield, you could have a player coming from anywhere. So that was the thing I found most difficult. Like receiving the ball facing my own goal. I think that was probably the toughest part of making the transition into midfield.
Yeah, definitely, and like not got enough sideline, so little annoying number 10s can just kind of look back, look behind your shoulder as well, and then not be offside, wouldn't they?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. But I think it's like anyone. I think if you want to play games, and I think you've got to be prepared to play in different positions.
So, just touching on what you mentioned there, obviously when you first, obviously this is probably your second or third appearance on this podcast, and obviously we spoke about the health problems that you'd had, and you'd fought and actually done brilliantly well to carve a career out. And we know that obviously this was in many ways thanks to the sort of care of Newcastle United when you were there. Now you're sort of like, you're managing this situation, because I know it's a permanent situation. You're managing it, and you've played all these games. Did you ever think you'd be able to do that?
Nah, if you asked us that like 5 years ago when I was really ill, I didn't think I was ever gonna. I didn't think I was gonna play again, to be honest. But somehow I've made it to this position, so I'm obviously grateful to be playing this amount of games, really.
I mean, and obviously from your point of view, you're still pretty young. You're established as a League One player now. You've kept your fitness, you've kept your health. The future's pretty bright for you, hopefully.
I hope so. I just hopefully I'll have a long career in the game. That's what I'm hoping for, and I just play as many professional games as possible. So that's just the aim for me. I think that's the goal, because at one point I didn't think I'd have this opportunity. So obviously I'm always grateful to be in this position.
And just the final one I want to touch on. Were you disappointed because your brother Lewis didn't feature for Bristol Rovers when we played them?
Yeah, I think it was getting built up to be. That was going to be a bit of a strange one for me anyway. A strange one for my parents. I don't think my mum couldn't have hacked that game. To be fair, I think she would have been stressed out. But I would have. it would. I think I played once on the same pitch as him. Obviously on opposition. He was at Everton. I was at Newcastle at the time. But obviously it's totally different when it's in a first team professional environment. So I was looking forward to it, but unfortunately he picked up an injury just a couple of days beforehand.
All right, so he bottled it.
If that's what you want to say, yeah.
Yeah, you must get him to listen to this podcast and confirm that.
I will.
So looking at it in for the rest of the season, you're pretty happy with your form, although you'd like more wins. That's the gist of it.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's what I said before, that I'd take like on a personal point of view, I'd take average performances in like for substitution for a few more wins. But like I said, I think we just need to keep on applying ourselves and keep giving 100%. I think hopefully our fortunes can change in the next couple of weeks.
It'd be nice to, and this is a dream of mine, score 3 goals.
I know.
Because we've created chances, haven't we?
I take a 3-0 at half time on Saturday, like, and one of their men sent off. I'd take that 100%, but it's been a little optimistic.
Another 30.
It don't turn into a Doncaster. So Charlie, what's have you got any news for us from the boardroom and what's going on behind the scenes? I know
I've got 3 pages of report here.
Oh, quality! I know what a couple of people actually have sent me questions saying what they're going to do in the January transfer window, and somebody very kindly kindly put the same question on Facebook for me to see. And a couple of people answered it by saying, well, if you'd have listened to last week's, you'd have heard Derek saying we're planning, but it might be that nothing happens because we've got no fresh money. But if we get new owners, then who knows? So they are still planning for it. So that answers that one. But yeah, go on. Yeah. Start with your 3 pages. I'm all ears.
Right, I've got some good news. I've got some very good news coming up. There's a bit of a scoop. Right, Christy the Cat's outfit's being repaired and it's being re-released in the next few weeks.
All right, so he's been
to the moment transfer window. Christy the Cat is back.
So he's been to the vets and he's had it sewn up.
Yeah, so when Gibbo's playing days are over, he's going to be with his modelling career. He could be Christy the Cat. In all seriousness, the first piece of news is the Bolton Wanderers investigation being concluded.
Yeah.
No further action.
Surprise.
But we're not going to, that's all I can say. We just welcome that result, which is good. Ground safety has been good. Stewarding improved. Less complaints, less incidents. Match day per spending per head on the hospitality has been really good. Good figures there. Martin's hit his target for the year already on commercial budget, which is good. Finances looking okay. But yeah, what else we got? Yeah. The shop's been really successful. We're breaking records there with the terrace, which has been really good. Dog bandanas, etc. And the work with the community has been really good with the Adele's joined the academy, which has been really positive. Well, it depends. We publish the strategic plan reports. Basically, we have a strategic plan related to a 3-year plan every year. And we have a meet up every quarter to review it. And on the whole, it was a pretty well run football club. Pretty pleased. Ben's doing a fantastic job under pretty difficult conditions. So we need a few more wins. And Chris the Cat's come back.
Is that in the report? That's amazing.
But yeah, we're happy with the way things are going. I just think the 2 cup games came at the wrong time. Let's try and get a couple of positive results in the next couple of games, have 2 weeks off, and then come up with those 2 home games, get 6 points, get in the playoffs. Simple plan.
Yeah, it is. I like it. And yeah, it sounds easy. And obviously, the warm weather training in Southport it'll be great. So moving on, thanks for that, Charlie. No, obviously, I know you're not going to tell me anything behind the scenes because you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Things like this move at glacier pace, don't they? When it's a takeover, because there's lots of dots and I's to dot and T's to cross.
Certainly is, and there are things happening, but I can't tell you about it.
No, that's fine.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. Don't worry about that. Christy the Cat's the best news we've had in.
I had to have some big news to cover the fact I can't tell you the real stuff. So Christy the Cat must be groundbreaking.
Yeah, but at least
I'm probably getting in trouble with telling you that, but I used it as a cover story to avoid answering difficult questions.
Yeah,
Cat's back.
and that's fair enough. I accept that. Obviously, as you know, with the podcast, I'll always ask it, but you can choose to answer it in a political way. That's fine.
Just the cat likes mushy peas and gravy as well, apparently.
Yeah, well, it's the gravy. That's the thing. Yeah, it's the gravy. Yeah, that's right. And Joel, finally, before we shut down, we're looking at the trust, and there's plenty going on at the trust. But the big thing is that it's the toy collection starting this Saturday, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I don't know how many years it's been going now, but it's really good to be able to do it again. Obviously with
Christmas.
Yeah, but like
2021 years, mate.
Yeah, with Joe and Hodgie kind of pushing that, it's really good. So there's an Amazon kind of wishes thing that you can kind of go on and kind of donate toys via ordering them through Amazon, which is a good way to do it if you can't get to the ground this Saturday, because this Saturday we're doing a kind of like an in-person collection. So there'll be a gazebo and a table outside the ground. It'll be very clear and obvious where it is, and I think it'll be Joe and Hodgie probably doing picking up some toys to be able to donate. So yeah, if there's anything that you've got that you'd like to donate and you're able to bring it to the ground, that'd be really appreciated. Really appreciated. We've had a player actually getting do something over the Amazon wish list, so we're really happy with the uptake so far. So keep them coming, really, because it's a really lovely thing to be able to do.
Yeah, it is a fantastic initiative, and it's been really popular in the past couple of years, particularly with loads of people donated. And I've got something that I bought yesterday, which I'll bring to the game on Saturday, and obviously put that in. I always wondered in previous years people have been bringing it gift wrapped, so you didn't know what it was, and I was like, well, that's not a lot of point because you don't know if it's a male or a female sort of thing, do you? But I did see people dropping them up gift wrap. You don't really want them gift wrapped, do you?
No, I think we probably want to see what it is, because I think they get donated to the families who then will presumably then gift wrapped it. But I appreciate why people have done that. It's a nice thought. But
it is a nice thought, yeah. But I just thought I'd flag it up because I'm just like, it's it's a strange thing to do. It's like, oh yeah, I think that's great. And somebody texts a present, oh, thanks very much. What is it? Oh yeah, I didn't realise that. And you give a 3-year-old girl a Buzz Lightyear. I'm like, no, it's not going to work, is it? But there you go. So, quick heads up for the Portsmouth game Saturday. There is, and the one thing I did notice that I got an email today about the Exeter games have moved to a Friday night because of the England game in the World Cup, and they were offering a really good deal on hospitality. That's just come through just on an email to me just before we went on air. And that's certainly a good deal. I think it's, if you're a season ticket holder, it's 20 quid for a 2-course meal and a ticket in the stand, which is pretty good. So
there's also a ticket incentive as well for entry as well that day, which has been revealed in the next couple of days, I think. So trying to pack out the Mazuma as much as possible and try to make it a bit more affordable during the in the tough times at Christmas with money short and bills are expensive.
Yeah, true.
So it's going to try and make it a really big game.
Well, we'll probably talk more about that next week after we've chatted how Gibbo scored a hat-trick with his right foot against Portsmouth. So thank you, Charles, as always. Thank you, Joel. And thanks to Gibbo for coming on. This has been episode 14 of ShrimpNet. We tried to keep things as positive as humanly possible, but this week was probably one of the most difficult ones we've done. So thanks to Gibbo for facing the music. It's easy to come on here when things are going well, but obviously people listen to this, and we do get lots of positive feedback. We do try and keep it light. So try and enjoy the game on Saturday. Keep the faith. Up the Shrimps. Join us again next week.